I'm on. Only. We're back.
Yes.
The whole thing is, this is a commercial. Come to church. Now we have given out to the people here, and I wish it were more, but they can give it to other people and what's it called? We give it out. You see is that they can follow that. They're very simply written. The cookbook was written actually in 1991, and it's today as accurate as it is. And he has all these recipes right in there. There's a copy up in the narthex. Please don't take it home with you. It's our last one. But you can make a copy and just follow what's it called thing. So basically go back to the green onions, just to repeat. Onions, what's it called, buy them, either what's it called, peeled or unpeeled. Curl onions, pick the small ones. Because if the large one is here, the small ones are overcooked and the large ones are not cooked, you see. So just pick them out, you see. We went over to Adams, we just picked the smallest ones.
Excuse me, Chef. You said when it came to a boil, do what?
When you come to a boil, I'll bring it over here.
Oh, it's coming.
We want to see. I'm in trouble now, see. She does such a good job there. I think I'll give her a raise. Now, when we want to look here, I need to put a spoon too.
Oh, with a spoon too?
See, it's still very watery. As you can look at this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to add some more to that, okay? Well, I measured it out before, approximately, but you know, you never know. And so you don't want to put everything in the first time, and then you have to do this, you know, back on the fire here. Let it come to a nice simmer, okay?
A simmer?
Yeah. Well, I'll boil it and we'll look at it again. To give you a little example, many years ago, I worked in 7 camps. It's a Jewish camp up in Port Jervis, 3,000 kids, and I never in my entire life cooked for 3,000 people. One day I made a barley soup, you know, and I went the same thing, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like I do here right now, and I put it on there, and their barley soup got thicker and thicker and thicker, and I'm taking tons of barley out and put more water there because it was kosher. I couldn't use any stock, and it got thicker and thicker. And it took us 3 days to chisel that soup out of the kettle. So the key word is when you make larger amounts, you have to actually figure it out beforehand how much you need. In this case, what I said before, 1 tablespoon evenly full for 1 pint of liquid. Okay, so this is about average the part, because for small now you can, well, I just did here, you can check it out and see. But for large amounts, that's professionally speaking. I learned the hard way. I made some pancakes too, and I forgot the lemon agent. They came out like Frisbees. So little things now which you learn, as it comes with it. So we have that actually going. See, and then in a minute we're going to check the turkey again. And when the more you check it, actually the better it is. You want to keep it nice and moist as it goes with it. Now the key word is, and Chef Deborah.
Yes, dear.
Could I have the thermometer, please?
The thermometer?
I feel like a doctor. You know, like a doctor. What's it called now? Nurse?
Where's your thermometer?
It's right over there. On the pick. Thank you so much.
Hiding.
I suggest
How long do you want me to simmer that?
I suggest to everybody, this is a tool which you should have in every kitchen.
Yeah.
Of course, it costs about $10 an hour to go up at Warren's kitchen place, and it's a very important factor because you can use it for everything. As I said before, it is very, very important that you cook the turkey all the way through. But the worst thing is when people here get a turkey with straw in the middle. Number one, we don't have the big space. We have to put it on fire, and sometimes it could be contaminated. Also, the whole thing is these. So make sure, absolutely sure, before you bring it here, that you make sure you check it. 2 things. If you lift it up and there's any bloody juices coming out, it's not ready. If the juices come up very clear, like water, it's ready. Or you can insert the thermometer right in the leg part Well, the big part is right here. Right here. Not to the bone, because the bone gives a bad reading. So you want to just have it in the meat, and I'll show you later on the turkey itself. In there, and you want to have, right here, you want to have 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you want to insert it right here in the front, not in the middle, right on the side here, as far in as you can go. You want to have 180 right here. Once you have that, you see the turkey is cooked, because what happens now is, and that's funny thing when you mention that, in a convection oven, the heat travels from the outside to the inside. So it takes about, let it just simmer there, okay?
I'm sorry.
How thick is it?
They're boiling. Do you want them?
Yeah, let's have a look. Because now see, as the heat goes in to the center, moves to the center. The moment you take it out of the oven, the heat. Okay, here we are. Yeah, still with a little more. See, it's still a little. Whoop. See, it's still a little bit too watery. But at that time, what we want to do, we want to just do a little tasting. Delicious. But I need a little more of the thing. Leave it right here, dear. And take a little more of the mixture.
You're good?
And the reason is, what happens is, while it's thin, remember I added extra liquid to that?
Yes.
Yeah.
The extra liquid expanded the whole thing. You see it. Before it would have been perfect because it didn't have. So I'm going to add just a little more of the. And I take a little bit heavy green. And we just do that fast. And see, now it's still nice and moist.
Yeah.
Oh, that should be fine. Let it simmer for about 10 minutes there, okay?
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
You got it, chef.
So to get back to this, it's very important that it's all the way out. Now, as you take it out of the oven, the heat, which was 350 degrees right here, still travels to the center, which increases the center by about up to 10 degrees. And the larger is 10 degrees and the smaller is less. Then it moves out. So later on, when you put it on the table for the resting, he actually still cooks for at least about 10 minutes. Now, if you do it in a microwave, it's the other thing. In a microwave, the heat starts right away from the inside out. Complete different type of thing. That's why you never get color on the outside, because the heat starts heating up on the inside and moves outside, and doesn't give any color in the microwave. But in the oven, so the key with the resting is very important, because as the thing moves out, it moves the juices and circulates it around. So later on, when you cut the turkey, it's nice and moist. Now, if you cut a turkey which is very dry, people didn't rest it, because all the moisture falls out and it's collected on the bottom, what we call the juices, as it goes with it, which makes a good sauce. But the meat by itself, when you start to chew, is very dry. That's the part of it. Now let's check our things again. Yes.
Talking before, you talked about how when it's cooked, when it's done, the juices that would come out red turn clear. What's going on? What's happening with the red?
Blood.
It's not cooked enough.
It's not cooked enough. See.
I understand.
See,
why is it changing color with heat?
Well, in changing color, what's it called? What do you call it? I can't give it the exact name for that, but anyway, the blood coagulates and turns into what's it called? Clear liquid.
So it's a solid. It's probably
That's right. But it's really not blood. You see, it's the juices. We have some blood left in there because they take the blood out before. Because the blood, you see, spoils very easy, and they make extra money with that because they sell it on the side. What's it called, to other people. As a matter of fact, when I worked for Jenny O, and I said to them, look, you guys, you have all these bones. Why don't you make a nice stock, and instead of water, inject the stock? Well, the law doesn't allow that because the stock is contaminated. So they would have to make a base and then reheat it with water, what's it called, but then it's salt in there, so they could use it, okay? They're also, what's it called, the liver they have. They said, why don't you make liverwurst about this? No, it says, we sell it to China, we make more money on selling what's it called, the liver and the lungs to the Chinese. We make a lot of money, which is extra money for them, so it's the saying. Now, in the United States, we're not allowed to buy lungs, what's it called, because they're declared unfit for eating, because the dog manufacturers need it for making dog food, and they get it cheap. But they sell it now to China for a lot of money. Now they're actually reading right now in Congress is a big push to declare the liver unfit for human consumption, also because that's used for dog food, and now it's very expensive right now. So sometimes it's very funny what's it called, what people make money on when it comes to that disease. Now let's check our turkey again. Come over here. Oop. Yes, okay. Okay, where's my spoon?
Right here.
Okay. You see it has a nice color. Now that turkey is actually had a little thermometer by itself in here, okay? Which our turkeys won't have because we buy it fresh, don't think. I bought that frozen actually, though, what's it called? It's the only way you get it. Let me just go to the other side here. Oh, I lost weight. Take a little more.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And what we check now is the first thing we take a thermometer, insert it right here, not to the bone. Let's have a look what we have here. We have exactly 180.
Perfect.
Right there. Now we're doing the same thing in the back here. Insert it right here in the leg part. Right here, not to the bone, but just to the meat. And let's see what we have here. We have actually 85 in here, so it's a little heavier, but it's okay. So it's here. And the reason for that is that when I put it in the pan is small, it's more heat which goes around the whole thing, you see.
Okay.
Now we can bring the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another.
Bring it right over here.
You want to go over there or over here?
No, over there.
Okay.
Right here. Okay, we can close.
You want me to take the stuffing out?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Then we'll just press the thing on top there.
Which one?
Oh, I think the small one. This one here.
This one?
Yeah, that's okay. Now, the next thing what we have to do, the turkey is out now, is we're going to remove this one here because we don't need that. Is okay, now here you have to be a little careful. I need the fork over there, dear.
What?
The fork, yeah.
Chef, can you buy those pop-ups to add to turkeys, those pop-up thermometers?
You can buy them if you want to and put them in there, it's easier. But you don't have to really, to do this the way. I
Okay.
don't know if you can buy them because here. Now, when you take this, you take your fork right there where the rib is, okay, and another fork maybe on the other side, but I don't have it, and you lift it out,
It's all right.
and you just put it in a thing for the resting period.
There you go.
Cover it up with the aluminum foil. Sabotage. Okay. So now we let it rest here. The reason why I cover it up is, see, I want it right out. So it starts to rest as it goes with it. Now here we have all the drippings for the sauce. Okay, can you see that? There's a little fat from the turkey there, everything else. Now with this one we're gonna add some chicken broth. About a can or something like this. Or a cup. Depends how much sauce we want, okay? Now we take, I need a wooden spoon there, please. Let's move this over here.
Wooden spoon.
Let's move this over here, move the turkey over here so we can see what we're doing. Because normally I would do this on the stove itself, but I started here. And I need the sieve over there. What I'll do right now is I just scrape off all the possible drippings which are on the bottom. Then I take flour. Take the flour and I put I start off with about 2 tablespoons in a sieve. That's how the old days they did it like this here, okay? Now what happens by doing this on this here, you just sift it right on top there. The fat which is on top will absorb the flour and sink to the bottom and all we have to now is to basically just see, it gets a nice beautiful color already. And now we put it on the stove and bring it to a boil. And the gravy is basically ready. The whole thing is this. So let's bring this over the stove here. Okay.
Okay, you want me to take the onions off if they're done?
Okay, is it grilling?
What?
You right there.
The onions?
Okay. So we have it right here. Sabotage. Okay, I need spoon here. Beautiful. Now I need the butter from over here, please.
Butter?
You want to bring it over here?
What, butter? No, butter. You want all of it?
Give me a half. Drop it right into the onions.
Sorry. In the onions? Or in the gravy?
Not great.
Excuse my fingers.
They're clean.
So you just added the butter to the gravy?
Can you come
To
over here?
the onions.
Or take it.
This is my,
And give me a little more chicken stock here also. Here's our gravy.
how's my onions doing?
Now you don't have to add the flour to that. You can do it without. But ready? That's ready. Now see we have a nice.
Beautiful. Oh, perfect.
Now we need to taste it. 1 second. Always taste, you know.
This, Nita.
Perfect, Debbie.
Sauce is ready.
Yeah.
Hey, Chef, can you add gravy master?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Then you don't use any flour.
Don't use any flour. Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Just you can use anything. You can use chicken base now. What you go to, you can use a thickness. You know, and the whole thing is here. So
No, I just use the gravy master to make it darker.
perfect.
To make it darker.
So that's
Yeah.
if the thing is gravy, should be yellowish brown. You know that's what they call it, pan gravy.
Okay.
That's what it did. When you put some coloring agent to it, it becomes the sauce. I mean, it's not big things, I'm just saying, but
Yeah.
it's just now, when you go back in the old days, that's how the different, you see, the gravy was made with just the turkey stuff, you know. Now, normally, in the old days, you didn't have to put chicken stuff to it because you had enough natural juices coming out. But these days, what's it called, all the turkeys and all the stuff, they're all, what's it called, not freshly slaughtered anymore. Now, the ones which we get are freshly slaughtered, so you get much, much more liquid in there. Then I got on this one here, because that's why I had to add the chicken broth to that, because it wasn't the liquid. But the fresh one which we get here at Wittenberg is really maybe slaughtered a day or 2 days before that.
Right.
And so when you roast them, you get, you know, and some of you may roast it, you get all this juice down there, the whole thing, you see, and everything else. Now, then you don't have to add anything to it, except you want to make more sauce.
Do you need to strain any of the fat out? or
No, not at all. The whole thing is,
Okay.
the fat is actually the sauce, and if you have some fat in there, you can always siphon it off on the top, you see.
Okay.
And I wouldn't do it at home, you see. I would bring it as it is here, so they can put it in the main pot. What's it called? Well, they have some base there already, and then bring it through. And then if there's a lot of fat on top, you can siphon it off. Okay. Because you know, you don't want to have, because some people may have no fat. Everything is here, so it's and then it's just siphon the thing off. Any other questions?
When you roast-
Like my students.
Fritz, when you roast a turkey, should it be on
A rack.
a rack? Or should it just?
Yes, you can put it on a rack. You can put it on a rack. What's it called? With a rack, you don't get as much of the drippings or the things, because when you have it right there, the thing is, and if the oven is 320, you get even heat around the whole thing. It doesn't burn the bottom because you get the same heat at the bottom as on the top, and especially with convection. That's a part of it. But yes, you can do that. There's no problem. At home, when I do a chicken, I put it in a rack for holding, because I don't want to mess up the pan. But they can do that. You see, there's no problem. But it's save all the juices for the gravy.
Right.
And if you want to put a little more gravy, it's always better more gravy than less, because stuffing absorbs gravy. You put a 2 tablespoons of gravy on the stuffing, it's gone. And you want to have another 4 or 5 things, so you're basically wasting the gravy. The whole thing is, so that's why you want to keep. Like I said, now if you have your takeout, instead of putting the sauce on top of the stuffing, just put it in a smaller container on the side. The whole thing is it's actually much better, because then people can put it on themselves as it goes in. But anyway, now we have our turkey here. You know what we need here? We need one of these
Trays?
trays, okay?
Yes.
The turkey is really basically right here. It's being rested, the whole thing. You can see it's cooked all the way through. Is now you're gonna get lots of more juices here, which goes in the sauce in a minute, okay?
Now, can I put everything on here for tasting?
Yeah, in a minute. Now, we're not ready yet.
You're not ready yet?
Now we're gonna take. Now look at this. You see the juices we have in here? See all the juices we have here? That goes right in the sauce now. Deborah, would you put this in the sauce?
Pardon? What in the sauce?
What is in the sauce?
Yep.
See, a lot of people don't realize that. What out in the resting period, what she gets. Now the next thing is basically you would start to carve it. I will do it here. I don't have my scissors with me. Sabotage.
He does.
I basically don't like these plastic things there in the back here. At that time, basically, here they carve it themselves in the back here, but they do the first thing, they take off the legs. It's a little bit undercooked, I don't know why. Sorry about that. It needs a little more resting to get the whole thing done. Now when this occurs here, it's a very simple process. You're going to finish in the sauce. The extra flavor in the sauce. See, it's a little bit on the pink side than what I have to. Okay, it's not bad because it's not really raw. It's just the pink. Deborah, can I have the sauce?
You want all the sauce?
Yeah. 1 sec. And that's for the people which do if they get it like this, for example, we just put it in the sauce with the down and just bring it to a boil. And it's cooked. Next thing, of course, we take off. So we get now extra juices on top. So we're going to put all in the sauce. And I don't know why. I had the temperature right.
Maybe it's the
Except
oven.
my thermometer may be off. It's just saying, see, so. Ooh. Delicious.
Delicious. Chef, why is it you see so many different kinds of roasting pans? What makes a good roasting pan?
Well, the old, that's what I have here, that's a good roasting pan.
But you see so many, you see some that cost $19.95 and you see some that cost $200.
Well, just, if you want to show off. Okay.
Is that it?
That's what it is. It's like if you drive a Mercedes or a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
So Volkswagen is 20,000, the Mercedes costs you 60,000. They're both right.
And actually, with the large turkeys we get for the turkey supper, a lot of people use the aluminum.
The aluminum, or buy the aluminum roasting pan in the supermarket.
Okay.
Right.
See, I think this is just perfect.
Would you do that again, please? Got it.
But I apologize, I'm sitting down. With such a bad legs. And I have the wrong knife too. Should have brought.
You want a different knife?
No. I can handle it. Now the turkey, of course, the bones you save for soups. Yeah, I should have kept it a little bit longer in the resting period. I mean, I said 30 minutes, but we didn't have 30 minutes.
No.
And we wouldn't have all these problems.
Beautiful.
How long did you want me to cook these legs?
Yeah, bring them over here now. hand. Thank you. So now here is perfectly cooked now. See, right here, right here. Here's the gravy. See, that's now if you use Helen, if you use your mixture, then it becomes more brown. Okay. And as a matter of fact, the base I gave you, Nancy, that makes it brown too also because it's it has some.
Put that over there.
Well, you need that.
Oh, you need that?
Well, we can leave it right there. Yeah, we put it right over there.
I'm put it on the
Yeah.
table.
On the table. Okay. Then, then we have to bring the stuffing out. Okay. The stuffing out.
And then just.
Sorry.
Is it okay?
Oh, you won't get anything. It's all mine! Mine!
I'm bringing mayonnaise.
I need a tall person.
Ryan, that's probably going to be...
All, you said, right?
Just put the stuffings over the table.
What do you want over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, just put it right next to that.
Now, Nancy, you want to say anything about the stuffing? Is that what you did there?
Well, you want me to walk through here?
I got you, Nancy.
You got me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you.
I made 2 batches of stuffing, one with 1 loaf of bread, compared to 2 bags of the Pepperidge Farm stuffing mix. And 1 bag of Pepperidge Farm would be a little bit less than a loaf.
Maybe you wanna bring 'em
2 was a little bit more, so it kind of would be a bag and a half
you
of
can show
the
it on
Pepperidge Farm
on the camera.
equivalent. So if some people prefer using the stuffing
That's
mix
right, yeah.
from the store, that would be the equivalent. And then I just, did the celery and the onions. And when I brought it here, I had added some chicken broth, but Chef added more chicken broth, and it needed to go back into the oven a little bit. But and you can see it really kind of cooked down. If you so it's the celery, the onions, and a poultry seasoning. So you can kind of see
So
the difference in quantity.
The 1 loaf of bread is right over here. Well,
that's 2.
Two packages, which you can see is basically double.
It probably, so maybe 1,
One, see, I think one, like I
maybe
mentioned the
1,
last time.
yeah.
So you can see that may be a little easier for people, because you don't have to cut the bread.
But it is more expensive because we do
That's
get
more
get a good deal with Freihoffers. It's like
Well, I think, if people want to go this way, they have to buy it themselves.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when the bread is
right.
so
Right.
extra work. that
Right,
we
and
use.
Debbie, you have said, when you cut up the loaves of bread, you just cut it up a couple days in advance and let it
Yeah.
sit
Let it
out.
dry
or you
out
can
a
just
little,
put it,
yeah.
In your oven and
Yeah.
dry it
Put
out.
up and
Yeah.
dry it at like 200 degrees and just let it dry out for like 20 minutes and it's good to go.
True. So I'm going to put these back up
Yeah.
here on the...
Debbie is the stuffing expert.
No,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
not.
Oh yes, she is. And she makes the best meatloaf too. Oh,
He lies. So
okay. Now let's do some tasting, guys.
Okay, can you cut some of that turkey up?
I will do this right now, dear.
On a...
Okay.
How are we going to do that? On a...
I need just a